Hello everyone, welcome to Under the Wing. I am your host, Andrew Wingard, and I am extremely grateful that you're sharing your time with us today. I am excited that I get the opportunity to share with you the experiences and stories from all walks of life. Gather round and let's begin. Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Under the Wing. And I'm switching it up a little bit. So let me first and foremost say I apologize and ahead of time is because this one will not be a interview based show. And so life has been crazy the past 2 months, man. And so I'm trying to get adjusted to everything. And so I'll start recording and bringing back some fun conversations here the last week of July. So I'll have some time to really dive into that. But I said all that to say this is a really, really good transition into the next few podcasts that will be released. And so I told you guys this is going to be, we're going to have some fun, some good conversations with some artists and musicians and chefs and managers of local restaurants and pit masters. So we're going to dive into a lot of those conversations and really talk food. And so this one will be mainly food with a splash of entertainment, but it's going to be 98% food. And, you know, I thought about what should I cover in regards to food. And I mean, I could highlight everything. I could go from New York to Texas. But I said, you know what? Let's dive into my two favorite cities, which is New Orleans and Nashville. All right. So I'm actually going to title this podcast Beyond Bourbon and Broadway. And that beyond portion is more so for bourbon than it is Broadway. And I'll explain that. And the reason I'm doing this is I get messages and calls and where do I need to go to eat? And in Louisiana or specifically in New Orleans or in Nashville, or what do I need to do in those cities, and you know, give me some insight, right? And I get them all the time because people just want insight, you know, and I just give them kind of what my feedback is, and those two cities are massive. You really don't need advice from me, but these are some of the highlights that I have and some of the places that I enjoyed during my time in both places. So let's dive into Beyond Bourbon and Broadway. So let me explain that a little bit. I get sad sometimes when people only go to New Orleans and they get stuck on Bourbon Street, or they're thinking, hey man, let's just do this and that. And you can do that on Broadway in Nashville. You can have a long weekend on Broadway and have an unforgettable experience and get all of the Nashville experience on Broadway, right? You can do that on Broadway. And I've had some incredible memories and experiences on Broadway, so it can be done. I don't think that's possible on Bourbon Street. And I'll be honest, I haven't had an incredible experience on Bourbon. I haven't even had like an actual good experience on Bourbon. It's just not one of those kind of places for me. And that's just me. I can't speak for everybody, but you know, as fun as Bourbon is, I can't say that I've had incredible memories on Broadway. I mean, it's been amazing. Whereas Bourbon, I can't, you know, that's where the beyond comes from. And the beyond Bourbon and Broadway, it just kind of means, you know, getting away from those two strips. And what do those amazing cities have to offer people who are visiting in that area? But the good thing, you know, about Broadway, there's so much around in that area to where you can venture off and hit a side street and be where you want to go. New Orleans, on the other hand, is so massive in the sense of where you can find good food and pockets of food. You know, it's crazy how much food. So I'm going to try to only spend 20 minutes on this show. And so hopefully I can get through that. I don't want to spend more than 30 minutes. And I'm going to try to do that my best as possible. All right, so let's start with Nashville, because I think that's the Nashville is going to be the easiest for me to cover. Let me first say, if you're looking for anything to do July 4th, so say you're getting together with some friends or you want to link up and you're like, man, where should we go to July 4th? Nashville is the place to go, hands down. By far my favorite July 4th celebration that I've been to date. Now, I do know that there are other places that go crazy July 4th. Nashville was amazing. You talk about incredible memories. I've had 2 incredible memories surrounding July 4th in Nashville. And those are just 2 of the memories. So it's an amazing place to be, an amazing environment. It's an awesome atmosphere, July 4th. One of my all-time favorite, is my all-time favorite music venue and restaurant, and just my favorite place for music and food and drinks is Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar. The Boogie Bar is so amazing. It's not on the Strip, but it's like on one of those side streets, and I don't remember the name of it, but that place is amazing, man. If you ever make it out to Nashville, get a reservation for 2, get a table. You don't have to get a table, but it'll help the atmosphere and the environment, because that place gets rocking, bro. It gets rocking. And it just reminds me of those, juke joints that you see on TV from like Harlem Nights or something like that, and old blues and country, and it's a super fun environment, man. You got these tables and you got the stage, you got people dancing, and it's just such a cool environment to be in. So that's probably my favorite venue that I've been to, and I've been to quite a few different blues venues, and that by far stands out. And I've been to some great blues shows and blues festivals, so I won't talk too much about those. All right, so let's get to the meat of this this show. And again, I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible, so that way I'm not rambling on too much. So Nashville. All right, so there are a few places that stand out to me that I've enjoyed over my time in Nashville and visiting and going back. So I think the last time I was back in Nashville was probably 2019. I linked up with Tiff, and we just got together for a long weekend and ate food and hung out and caught up. And so let me throw that out there, man. If y'all ever thinking about linking up in any of those cities and y'all trying to do a trip, man, I'm always game, man. So shoot me a message and I'll link up with y'all. But it's truly up to y'all. So, but let's start with coffee, because I am a coffee snob, man. And I love coffee. I truly do. And the thing about coffee is, if I'm meeting people or if I'm sitting down having a conversation with people, I'm not going to go to like the Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks. Like, I use those for work related activities, or honestly, I don't even use them for work. When I mean work, I mean for myself. Like, if I need to go grab a cup of coffee and wake up or whatever. But if I'm meeting people, whether it's family, friends, or work, I like to go to the local shops and really support them. So I'll give you guys Three Brothers Coffee in Nashville is good. It's a good chill spot. I'm trying to think what else was out. Might be out that way. Because it really depends also where you are. So you can't go wrong with the local coffee shop. Just make sure you support your local shops, man. I'm trying to think what the other place was. 10 Cup Coffee was good. They got a good little small setup shop there. So you can, again, it really depends on where your hotel or Airbnb is, and some hotels have their own coffee shop in there. So you don't have to go far. So, but those are my 2 coffee spots. You got Hattie B's Hot Chicken, man. Now, a guaranteed staple in the city of Nashville, but not mistaken, man. Princess Hot Chicken gives Hattie B's a run for their money. But if you're going to Hattie B's, man, there are a couple different locations, and if you got time, you can go to the OG location near campus. But understand, you're gonna be in that line for quite a while. All right, that was a good spot. So Hattie B's, Princess Hot Chicken, Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar is near campus as well, man. So that's a good spot to go if you got your significant other with you and you just trying to go out and get off the strip a little bit and great environment, great place. You can walk around campus. It's actually right behind the baseball stadium as well as the football stadium, actually in the basketball arena. So it's a good place to just go and you want to walk around campus a little bit, then grab you some dinner, or grab dinner then walk around campus depending on what time of day it is. Great place to go do that. Peg leg pork or barbecue, man. As y'all know, I am a dive bar kind of guy, and I don't have anything against those fancy dines. As I just said, Fleming's Prime Steakhouse and Wine Bar is a great place to go. But I am a dive guy, and I'm barbecue. If I have to choose between steak and brisket, I'm going to brisket all the way. All right, so peg leg pork, a good chill spot to go with the homies. If you're in Nashville and you're looking to get some margaritas, San Antonio Taco Company is a good spot near campus. And one place that I don't think they don't get a ton of credit, or they don't get a ton of recognition, is Edley's Barbecue. And I may be wrong. Maybe they're getting more recognition since I've been there, but Edley's Barbecue is a great barbecue option for smoked meat there in the city of Nashville. Dino's Bar, which is on the east side of Nashville, so you got to drive a little bit. I think Dino's is Nashville's oldest dive bar, if I'm not mistaken. All right, so that's a good spot. I mentioned Princess Hot Chicken and brunch. Like you're in the South, man. So when it's just different, right? So brunch is everywhere, and so a couple spots, Stateside Chicken. I think the distillery might be a brunch. I don't know if I went to the distillery for brunch or I don't remember. But distillery's good. Stateside Kitchen, I know for sure is brunch. Excuse me. So that's a good spot. There's an Italian spot that's really cool. So if you're looking for a date, another date night, you with your significant other, right by the strip. It's right by Bridgestone, actually. I don't even know how to pronounce the name. It's Trattoria Molino. It's an Italian spot. Good pizza, great appetizers. It's not Youngstown pizza and it's not Youngstown Italian food. So don't, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that for that area and it's a good food, right? So, and I say that, I jokingly say that regarding Youngstown Italian food because, little pockets of our world has like some amazing food, and Youngstown has one of those pockets of Italian culture. And this, oh my goodness, it's if you're ever in the area of Youngstown, just do yourself a favor, man, and just stop by one of those local spots and grab some food, some Italian food. And if you're ever there in the area, grab me some hot peppers and grab yourself some hot peppers too. All right, so let's go to New Orleans, man. And so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the city of New Orleans because I would be here for 3 days, right, trying to talk to food. So the thing about New Orleans, when you ask someone what they enjoy about the city of New Orleans in regards to food, you have to understand that people, once they find their place of what they like to eat and where they like to go, they pretty much become locals and stuck to those joints. So that's very similar to myself, right? I had my locations of where I would go get food. And so just take this for a grain of salt, and it also depends on, if you're visiting, it also depends where are you staying. Like you on the West Bank, you in Metairie, you in downtown, the French Quarter. And most of the time, most people are in the French Quarter. If they're visiting for the first time, they're staying in the French Quarter downtown. So that way they don't have to rent a car. Everything's within walking distance to where they want to be. So keep in mind, if you are staying in downtown or the French Quarter, just Google something food wise, and you'll find somewhere to go, because it's the food. And I'm not lying to you, out of all my time there in New Orleans, I had one bad meal my entire time there. And to be honest, I think it didn't really have anything to do with the people, but it was because I had been eating out for so long. I was on like a foodie tour, I believe. It was like maybe like a year in, or a few months into my time in New Orleans. And by the time I ate dinner there, it was just, I was over eating out. And so I don't want to give that a bad reputation, because I think I was just overeating for that point. But you're not going to find a terrible place to eat. You know, when you think about downtown in the French Quarter, you got Mr. B's, Johnny's Po' Boys, Deanie's Seafood. I mean, you got options galore, right, in terms of where you can go eat. So just take this as these are some of my highlights of my time in New Orleans. And so you're pretty much getting a short glimpse of some of the places that I would go to on more than one occasion, and we're like my normal staples of where to go. All right, so again, we got to start with the coffee and breakfast. Breakfast is huge for me, and so I know a lot of people, you got to do Cafe du Monde, you got to go get the French roast and then get you some beignets. But the best coffee in the city of New Orleans is PJ's Coffee, and I know that's kind of more of a it's not a chain, but it sort of is the chain. But in regards to the coffee, and if you need something to pick you up, I love PJ's Coffee, and it will definitely get you up out of the bed there if you had a long night on bourbon, for sure. All right, so hit the PJ's Coffee. If you can't hit the one on campus, that way you can actually see a little bit of Tulane's campus, and because it's right smack dab in the middle of campus, and so that'd be a good trip for you to do, just so you can see that environment there, and then grab you a cup of coffee, walk around a little bit, depending on if hopefully it's not steaming hot out with humidity. So, but that's a good place to go, man. And then there are a ton of coffee shops, as you can probably imagine. You can grab coffee from anywhere in the city of New Orleans. All right, Wake and Bacon. That's in Mid City. Daisy Dukes is a great breakfast spot, man. It's a place that I don't think a lot of people, or it doesn't get a lot of credit, or maybe it's just not talked about. District Donuts is a go-to spot, man. I love District Donuts. All right, and so when you talk about brunch, again, it's the South, man. You got your chain places in regards to brunch, and then you got your local spots. And I'm trying to think what that chain. It'll come to me. I think is another Broken Egg. Another Broken Egg is a chain, and I think it's southeast spots, Kentucky down. But I mean, I think Kentucky, Tennessee, and I think it's in Louisiana and some spots. But another Broken Egg, man, you see that? It's a chain, but it's awesome. It's awesome brunch wise. But in regards to my go-to brunch spot or breakfast spot that I would go to if I had people out and wanted to go, Ruby Slipper. Ruby Slipper is hands down my go-to spot for brunch, and so it might take you a little while to get seated depending on the day and when you get there. So be prepared for that. But it's definitely a go-to spot that I would say if you have a car and you can drive somewhere, definitely make sure you step out and do that. Lunch, man, you got options. You got options. And I was trying to figure out. Actually, that's dinner. I'll talk about that. But New Orleans Seafood Company. They got underrated beignets, to be honest with you, but New Orleans Seafood Company has some of the best catfish that I think is in the city. Parkway Bakery and Tavern. You're trying to get a po' boy, you gotta hit up Parkway. The Joint Barbecue Joint. It's exactly what it is, the joint, and that place is slim. I mean, it's slim, bro. So don't be nervous if you get to the joint and you're like, hold on, man, did Andrew just send me to come to this spot? Fire though, but it don't look like much. But it's a fire joint. The Rum House, Velvet Cactus, again, all good spots if you with people and you just trying to get out and have a good environment. All good locations to grab food. Seafood, man. And so I couldn't remember the place by St. Charles where Brian stay, and hopefully somebody hears this and can put it in the comments, but they had the best charbroiled oysters, and I know they had happy hour for them too, but I can't remember the name of that bar on the corner, the restaurant that's there on the corner. But Superior Seafood and Oyster Bar. Acme's a kind of a chain local spot, so that's a good spot to go to. Oceana Grill, Superior Grill, all great spots, man. And so the last couple things are barbecue places. Of course, as I mentioned, y'all, I love barbecue, man. So it will never compete with Texas barbecue and brisket, but you can find some places that can be great substitutes in regards to Texas brisket and Texas barbecue. Texas barbecue is my favorite barbecue. Now, I didn't make it to Memphis. to do that. So I need to do that sometime soon to really have a full range of what these barbecues. But everybody else, I've had all the other barbecues. Memphis is the only place that I have not been to in regards to trying. So Blue Oak barbecue it might be, if you're thinking top 3 barbecue places for sides, Blue Oak barbecue definitely has some of the best sides that I've ever put in my mouth. I mean, amazing. I think actually I started eating Brussels sprouts because of Blue Oak barbecue. I don't even know what they put in those Brussels sprouts, but they're amazing. All right, and they got good food, good meat. Crescent City barbecue. Now take this for a grain of salt, because I think the pitmaster left like a couple years back. I think they've changed management, so I don't know what Crescent City barbecue. I don't know what's going on down there. So either the business hasn't been great or turnover. I don't know. So take that for a grain of salt. And I would go to Blue Oak first. And then if you got some time and you want to try another place, Crescent City Barbecues is a good local spot. And they used to hold like different festivals. Like they had the Caribbean Festival there one weekend, which was awesome. But I would do Blue Oak, then Crescent City. All right. And I get people ask me all the time. This is my last thought in regards to New Orleans. Where do I get the best gumbo? Right. So understand when y'all ask me this, I never ate one bowl of gumbo in the state of Louisiana during my entire time there. And there's a reason why, because my family's recipe. And so my mom is by far one of the best cooks that I've ever come across. And the reason I say that is because I've had gumbo from other places, and what I didn't want to do is tarnish the gumbo cuisine in New Orleans and Louisiana because of how my mom's recipe is for gumbo, right? So she has passed down from her mom, and they have that recipe down packed. And so again, I've had different gumbo in the South, and it just does not compare to my mom's gumbo. So I can't give you guys gumbo suggestions. All right, so y'all just gonna have to go down there and find somebody. It's Louisiana, right? It's New Orleans. So you can find a bowl of gumbo and be totally fine with that, right? I just can't give you any advice on gumbo because I didn't eat any. All right, so that sums up, and I still went 30 minutes. I have no idea how that I almost went 30 minutes in talking about those two places that quick, but that sums up quickly, man. Those are quick hit notes between the city of Nashville and the city of New Orleans. 504-614. All right, I love those places, man. Shout out to everybody that I met during those times there in Nashville and New Orleans, man. I love y'all. I appreciate the experiences that we shared, and I appreciate the hospitality that was shared during those times. Hopefully I'll get back to them. I know I haven't been in New Orleans in a little while, so I got to get back there. I've been in New Orleans fairly recently. So New Orleans, I'll be back, man, at some point in time, and look forward to catching up with everybody. But thank y'all for tuning in. If y'all have any more questions, again, you guys always are welcome to ask. I feel like I should do that since, I get random messages and stuff now regarding the city of New Orleans and Nashville. All right, well, thank y'all again. I apologize, this is not the interview format that I promised, but it was a good segue in terms of going into the next group of interviews that I hope to do, because again, you can't have, as I mentioned before, this is a show about experiences and catching up with people who I've met along the way and journeyed along the way. And so food is a part of those experiences and those stories. So I wanted to share a little bit of that with you all. All right, so thank you. I look forward to catching up with you all soon. Thank you so much for listening to Under the Wing. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you enjoyed today's show and you would like to support the podcast, tell a friend or two, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Facebook at Under the Wing with Andrew. Again, thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.